And welcome in to MIZZOU Central on the Lou Information Station. We're live and on demand at louinfo.com. Yes, a little name switch. Brendan Schaefer. He's Brendan Schaefer. I'm Grant Salzman. How are we on this lovely Wednesday morning, B-Schaef?
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. I don't like that it's only Wednesday of this week because I've been kind of anticipating / dreading the upcoming football game for a while now. And it just, if it would just get here already and we could see what we're going to get out of it, that would be great. But we still have a few more days to go.
Yeah, and I commented the show, can we focus on A&M? Because I feel like there's a lot of talk about Missouri outside of the mission, and that's to beat Texas A&M on Saturday. But maybe I'm going to be a hypocrite because I'm going to open the show not talking about Texas A&M. I'm going to ask you about Missouri being ranked 22nd in the opening college football polls. Now, I'll tell you how I felt about it. When I saw it, I was surprised, especially when I saw some of the teams ranked above Missouri. Then I remembered, well, it's Mizzou, so of course they're going to be disrespected. But then after I was a little, that's annoying, whatever, a little upset about it, I was like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. If Missouri goes 4-0, if they beat Texas A&M, they'll be a top 15 team. They will go all the way up to top 15. And then if they beat Miss State, they'll move up a little more. And if they beat Oklahoma, they'll probably move into the top 12. And if they beat Arkansas, they'll be in. Like, that is where I'm at. Like, 10-2 still gets you in. Now, if they were 6-2 with Bo Beulah, maybe they are ranked a little higher, but they have a true freshman. We've seen the committee rank teams lower because of injuries. Florida State. That's my 2 cents about it.
I think you're largely right. As far as my surprise, like looking at the teams that Mizzou was ranked right next to in the AP poll, I was thinking, all right, knowing the way these things sometimes go, I don't think Miami should have been ranked above Mizzou given the 2 teams they've lost to, but I'm like, that'll probably hold.
But they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, they do have a good win. That's fair. But USC, Michigan were the 2 where I was like, oh, those are called USC and Michigan. So they'll probably be above Missouri when it comes to a committee rather than as much as the AP poll can be flawed too. That's more of a real voting system. Iowa is the one that you just have to laugh at. But I think 21, I wouldn't have really had an issue with. 20 for Iowa and 22 for Mizzou is so funny. But like puzzling. You said, it doesn't matter. Mizzou has an opportunity. I think I looked last night. Their remaining strength of schedule is 15th in the country. There's going to be opportunities to impress with wins. Like you said, all right, we can wonder about Miami with the teams they've lost to, but they've got a win under their belt that's a good one. Okay. Mizzou doesn't yet. They're going to have a chance to get them. And if they get to 10-2, they'll have 2 wins that are impressive to the committee. And one that would be maybe as impressive as anybody's win in the country. It's obviously a home game against A&M, not a road game, but it would be up there for any of the wins that people could tout across college football this season. So you win that one. I think if Mizzou wins, then we really tune in on the following Tuesday going, all right, treat us the way you should, committee, based on that win. Like, I don't want to see teams like Iowa, Michigan, Miami, Southern Cal still above Mizzou. Like, I think that win should mean something, at least to jump to, 17, 18, and then pending whoever may lose above you.
Yeah, and there's just some, and we talk about the SEC too, and I was going to say we should get into it on the second half, but since we're talking about it, I kind of just am curious your take, like, Texas being 11, like, okay, but like,
must be nice.
They snuck by Mississippi State and Kentucky. They don't have, they did beat Oklahoma. But Notre Dame being 10, they don't have a good win. Like USC, I guess, but like, I don't know. I think
this is what
I think I'm just like in
not good.
I'm just Brendan. Honestly, I just am in the thing like everyone sucks. No one's good. So like that's where
so they've devolved into just leaning on the logos, which is kind of something Eli Drinkwitz has talked about, and that would be a concern for me as well in the coaching carousel. Is like, look, man, if my logo is going to be penalized because I'm at Mizzou versus an LSU or a Florida, then that sucks, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Like the logo bias, I think in this first ranking was substantial, and like there does come a point where you can't overcome it. 10-2 for Missouri, though, I think would end up overcoming it because there would be other teams that lose above you. You'll get a bump by winning games that are impressive. And frankly, I can't be brought to care too much about it until I really feel in my heart that Mizzou has earned a better ranking.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about STP till we're blue in the face. Let's effing prove something.
Yeah.
Like, you got to beat Texas A&M or you've proved nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost to teams that are better than you. And your level wasn't as high as you had hoped it would be. So, yeah, STP, woohoo, go win a game. Go win a game against a good team. This is your chance. If you don't do it, the season's over, and we can stop whining about rankings because we won't be in them and we won't deserve to be. So that's going to sound negative, right? That's going to sound like, whoa, you're really, peed in your coffee. But it's just, I mean, at a certain point, we got to put up or shut up. And
it just makes...
that's this game.
It just makes all these losses even worse by the close losses. Because last year, like, you knew what the team was. You knew they weren't good enough. But, like, this year, it's like, man, there was just... just one of those. You would... Like, if you beat Vandy or Bama, we're going right now, okay, they're top 15 team in the country. Just don't mess up. Like, don't get killed by A&M.
10.
10.
I mean, they're vying with Notre Dame for the 10th spot,
yes,
I think.
And it's just we have a backup quarterback, and let's just go play them within single digits. We'll move back a few spots, and then you have all to play for the last 3 games of the season, which they still could do. We could be here Monday or Wednesday talking about the same exact thing, but right now it feels pretty bleak. Like this A&M team is just so good.
Yeah, you have to beat them as an underdog or where you don't have anything to talk about. Like, it's a very simple task this week. There's no, but it's a backup quarterback. There's no, but they're a touchdown underdog. You win this game or it gets bleak after that in a lot of different ways. And that's college football, man. Like, we get excited in the summertime. We get excited in the fall camp. We get excited when things are going well early in the season. But you have to do it for 12 games, and you have to put up the wins that matter. And Mizzou's still looking for that one. I'm going to believe by Friday that they can get it. I'm terrified about this game because, again, you're up against it with a team that's really, really good, and you're on your third string QB, and you're an underdog at home. But they've got talent. Mizzou showed in various elements of their losses this year what they're capable of being. They just got to get over the hump in this one.
I agree with you that by Friday I'll probably be optimistic. But right now it's like, man, not only is Mizzou on their third string quarterback, this A&M offense is great. Although it's not as scary to me as I think it is to other people. I have been lower on A&M. Like, I don't think A&M is the best team in the country. I don't think they're best team in the SEC. I don't even know if they're a top 2 team in the SEC. I think I'd take Bama and Georgia over them right now, which is crazy. I
don't know about that.
It's nuts. I agree. But maybe some of the flaws that I've been trying to poke at in this team will come out. Like, if Mizzou beats them, I'm right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am right about A&M if Mizzou wins. But I don't know. It just, this D-line is so good. The secondary is one of their weaknesses. Unfortunately for Mizzou, passing is one of their weaknesses. Like, they want to be able to run the football, and maybe they'll be able to run it enough that Zollers is totally freed up, that the play action is working, that the routes over the middle are working. That's what's going to have to happen for Missouri to win this football game.
Yeah. But, I mean, there is the element of, could they unlock something new with the passing game because of the quarterback change? Like, I think the offense is going to look different, and I hope it can operate crisply in whatever form or fashion it needs to take, right? Like, if this is going to be an offense that can run some tempo and can run some plays that are down the field, passing the football and just keeping things moving, keeping things on schedule, and not have, the quarterback run stuff probably as involved. A lot of times you had more option-y type of stuff that you could do with Bo, and I don't think that should really be the way this runs.
Yeah.
But, that in as much as you can hope for something that is like, all right, well, maybe that's an element that we really haven't seen exploited yet, and it's going to be something they can do more of in a game like this because of the quarterback. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. It comes down to Hardy needs to run for at least 90-plus yards.
I mean,
like it's got to be. It has to be Ahmad Hardy. Or you win the turnover by battle. You force, 3 red zone turnovers, and your offense barely has to drive the ball to score.
It feels like we're really reaching, though, for like feeling like Mizzou is outmatched in this game. If it's like, oh, you gotta dominate a turnover battle, you gotta get lucky with something like that.
It's the question marks with the offense. We don't know what Zollers is going to be. We don't know if he's going to come in and how open the playbook's going to be. I think it will be open, more open than you'd expect for a true freshman third-string quarterback. But at the same time, I feel the same way as you. Like, I need Saturday to get here because there's so many question marks. And I want them answered, good or bad. Okay, Zollers might not be the guy yet. That's fine. He's a true freshman. Wow, they looked good with Zollers. He's the guy. Like, something's going to be answered for us next week to talk about. My question to you is, in a hypothetical world, what does Zollers do to where you're like, yep, Bo, be gone. You're transferring next year because he is the starter.
I mean, I really don't.
Or is that already happening?
Those terms? No, that hasn't happened.
Okay.
I think some people have declared it. I think it's insane.
I agree with you.
I think
100%.
It's insane.
Without a doubt, I agree.
People are projecting onto Zollers what they thought Bo could not do because they saw a good half from Zollers when he came in as a reliever.
People don't understand. They don't understand how not easy, but how much less stress it is to come in and just play guns ablaze and nothing to worry about. Now you've had 2 weeks to prep.
It does depend on the circumstances, though, because I could flip that script and say, like, Drew Pine at Alabama was the total opposite. Like, he didn't look like he thought he was going to have to play that day. Matt Zollers probably didn't think he was going to play that day either, and yet he was ready when his name was called. So, different strokes for different folks, but I'm not going to project onto Zollers and just say, all right, take the half he had against Vanderbilt or the quarter and a half, whatever it was, and expand it out, and that's what he's going to be for these last 4 games. Like, we need a little bit more data before I can declare that. I don't really see value in having the conversation of like, oh, if Zollers is X, Y, or Z, that means Bo can transfer because they're not going to need him. I don't know if either of these guys will be on the team next year because I don't know if the coach will be here next year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he won't be or they won't be. I just don't have carry a lot of value in like putting emotional energy into that because before you find out about the players, you gotta figure out the coach thing. The coach thing is real. There's 4 jobs you can take. Add Auburn to the list. So, but
I'll put this hypothetical.
For me personally, no, let me do it this way.
No, I got
personally, when I look at what Zollers would do, and then I would say I would be comfortable with Zollers being like if everything stays the same, that you choose Zollers over Bo for next year. Like I think he does have to. They got to win one of these games, and maybe both of. You know what I mean? Like at least a 9-3 finish. And probably they just have to beat Texas A&M, or I'm not really going to be like, yep. And even if they win, let's say they win 27-24, and like Zollers plays pretty good, but the defense is a reason as well. The run game is a reason, but like he shows his chops in that environment. I'll feel really confident in Matt Zollers in his future. I would also still say, like, if Drink's here and everything stays the same, I want to spend the NIL they're spending on Bo Perbula, and I want to spend more NIL on Zollers, and I want to have them both. And I want to have a real competition in August because we are seeing right now how valuable it can be to have a number 2 and a number 3 quarterback on your roster. Sam Horn was getting NIL in addition to Bo Perbula. Like, it just didn't work out because of his injury. But that is kind of proof of the concept that, like, I would be telling, let's say they finish 10-2 and make the playoff or get left out of the field. I would still be telling Bo Perbula, like, dude, I mean, this is the place you wanted to be because it fit yourself as a player, your profile, this scheme, this system, these coaches, these players, this place, these facilities. Like, come win the job. Like, we're not going to say Zollers is dead to us if he leads us to success, but we're also not going to gift him the job. At that point, it would be a real competition, in my opinion, if you could convince both guys to stay. And that would be fine. That would be actually the ideal circumstance.
I agree with you. My worry is And yes, this hypothetical was in the world that Eli Drinkwitz is the head coach next year, that things stay the same. My worry is, let's say Zollers goes 4-0. The writing's on the wall. Bo's out. Because while they want the NIL and they want the money, Bo Prevula wants to play football. If he thinks that he might lose the job,
if
he's not going to stay.
Yeah.
But there's also a world where they go 10-2 and Zollers looks just meh. Or there's a world Prevula comes back. We aren't 100% sure. Like,
I'm going to say no to that, respectfully.
But if you're telling me if they're 10-2 and they're not playing a playoff game till the middle of December, that he couldn't be back?
Oh, maybe. I thought you meant for the regular season. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be plausible.
That's where
I would still doubt it. I think they're being overly optimistic in what they're releasing about his injury, personally. This isn't based on any medical background.
I agree with you.
Following injuries in this sport for long enough, you kind of go, oh, yeah, when they say John Mateer is going to be out, whatever, but then there's the Texas game on this certain day, I think that'll be when he's back. Like, you just sometimes have a feel. And then my feeling is like, it's best to kind of just, I don't doubt that they've gotten positive news on Bo's injury, but I also think like it's probably best to just keep some hope in there, let it flicker just to kind of keep that status quo a little bit. And I would be skeptical that we would get to see him again. I would love him to be back and available, because I am not, again, ready to crown Matt Zollers over Bo Prevula, who I always liked Bo Prevula. And so I would like to just know that we've got both guys, and that would be the ideal circumstance. But Drink even said, in his press conference this week, like, the future of the quarterback position is now with Zollers. But that, like, you can take that as, oh, what is he saying about Bo versus, I think he's just trying to say good things about Zollers. And if you think too hard about the way a coach talks about multiple different quarterbacks, it can feel contradictory. But they've also got a very fine line to walk in the transfer portal era where, like, the coach has every reason to want to keep both quarterbacks that he earnestly likes, because he knows how often he has to go to a second one or even a third one.
I'll say this with Bo is, like, if they go 4-0, I think maybe he'd stay for spring, but he'd probably be out. But at the same time, let's say Prevula beats Zollers out for the job.
I don't think there is a spring portal anymore anyway. So, like,
that's a good point. That's a good point. I forgot about that.
You're getting too deep into the hypotheticals without really thinking about this.
I'm just,
we got to beat Texas A&M.
Yes, but this is an interesting topic. I know.
You said, can we focus on A&M? And now you're asking me if Bo Prevula is going to transfer.
No. There's been a lot of talk about this, and I just wanted to talk about it. I also think it depends on what the staff is telling Zollers. If they told him, like, he came in knowing Prevula had 2 years of eligibility, I would assume the tell to him was, hey, you're going to redshirt your first year, be a redshirt freshman, probably the backup your second year. Boom, it's yours for 3 years. Things obviously took a turn. But if he was the backup next year, I don't think, if this coaching staff was honest with Matt Zollers, that he would be upset and transfer. It's if they're lying to him.
You are overstating this honesty versus lying concept, because I don't think that's how any of those conversations happen with quarterbacks.
Okay.
It can't. Like, you can't do it like The Bachelor and you get a rose, and you don't. But you'll get one maybe next year or in 2 years. Like, that's not how it goes. It's like, Zollers, you're a really good quarterback. Come be a quarterback for us. And then, like, they can figure out what the depth chart looks like.
I see what you're saying.
They can also influence it with their play.
Yeah.
And Matt Zollers, I think, keeping his name in the conversation as long as he did this past camp, told you that fully healthy next August was going to be billed as a competition between Zollers and Prevula. And neither of those guys, I think, would have it any different than that, including Bo, who, like, knew he was probably going to have the inside track to be the starter this year, but he also knew that Sam Horn existed and that he had to earn beating out Sam Horn in order to win that job, which technically never even happened because Sam Horn never got to compete. But I would say, if I'm Bo Prevula, I don't go, well, I mean, we got Matt Zollers. That means I might lose my job. Dude, you've got to be one of the best 10 to 15 quarterbacks in the country to keep your job in the SEC. So it's always going to be the quarterback just has to be great. And he can't really worry about, but what did they tell my backup? Like, you just got to go do it, and then it all kind of works itself out.
And I like your point, too, of if you give them both enough money, one of them will be okay with losing the job. Like,
there's an aspect to that, I think, that's truer than it used to be if you're a backup quarterback.
That they would be okay entering the competition, I should say.
Yeah.
Like, Prevula.
But all these guys should want to compete.
Yes.
Nobody expects to be handed a job, in theory, walking into a situation. But you're right. When they're getting money, it's like, I'm going to go play football. And, like, if I get to start, that's my goal. but it's a nice little consolation prize if I don't, if I'm getting paid to be around either way.
It's like a reward to stay in for the QB competition, basically, is how I see it.
Yeah, because I think in past years you might have been able to say, oh, do I want the smoke of like a 5-star freshman behind me who's now going to be a sophomore because he's got a year under his belt with the playbook and the system and the coaches and to build rapport with my teammates, and like, do I want the smoke, or could I go somewhere where the depth chart isn't, for whatever reason, as robust?
Where I'm the guy.
Yeah, and they'll woo me as the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. We don't know what was being told to any of these players when they were recruited. With Bo when it was in the portal, with Zollers when it was in the high school recruiting ranks. We don't know, but like, they get a quarterback in every single recruiting class, and only one of them in a 3 to 4 year span is really going to play.
Yeah.
And then for the other 2 years, you're going to pick up a transfer anyway. Like Gavin Sidwar is the kid's name for next year. He may never play a snap, or he may be the 3-year starter. Like, you got to get him into campus and see how they perform relative to the other guys in the room before you can make those decisions. And I think we view it too much in the public like it's a video game. Like, if we're recruiting on NCAA 26 on Xbox and we're like, well, this kid's an 87 overall, my current starter is only an 82. When this kid comes in, I'm just going to switch to him.
Yeah.
That isn't how it works in real life. And we can sometimes get caught up in that, I think.
I'm sorry I got ahead of myself. It's a fun thing to talk about on a Wednesday. I think
this was a great conversation. I wasn't trying to dog on you. I just think like that's sort of where I view it a little bit differently, where I'm like, I don't know if it's as cut and dry as, well, what did they tell him? Who's lying to whom? The coaches can't really do it that way because they like all of these kids, but they know in the back of their head, I got to have at least one healthy, to get through the season. So you got to have more than one.
I agree with that. I was more saying what they're telling them, I think, can influence their decision-making if they enter the portal or not, especially with like a guy like Zollers. If he sees the writing on the wall that Pabula is the starter next year, he could say, well, screw that. I'm going, I don't know, where they want me, where I'm going to start this year. Like, that was my thing, is that maybe not telling them.
Interesting.
But there's writing on the wall. These kids aren't dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it was always like they were excited about each other. Like,
yes.
Like Zollers was excited when they got Bo Pabula, both Pennsylvania kids, and Bo was excited that Zollers was here. Right, they're teammates too, and so it's from the outside we're like, oh, it's Game of Thrones. Like, there can only be one. It's going to be really interesting to see, how the guy who loses out feels about it, and like, yeah, he wants to play. How often do we end up seeing more than one quarterback play? It happens seemingly almost every year recently. Yeah. And then there's the aspect of like, okay, like I said, if you think about it too hard, it can seem contradictory. Drink has been talking about Zollers as the future of the position for since he was coming on campus or a junior in high school, right? Like, so eventually push has to come to shove. How can there be two futures of the position? In your mind, you could see how the timeline would work out. Like, okay, Bo would only have next year, I think, of eligibility. And then obviously you could move on to the other kid, but you're also bringing in Gavin Sidwar. You don't think he thinks he's the future of the position? Like, they're all going to come in and compete and try to be the guy, because there's only 16 quarterbacks that can start in the SEC in a given year. And those are valuable commodities, because if you're starting there and you're good, you're an NFL player in a couple of years. Like that's the breeding ground. And so, yeah, I think you can't have too many futures at once, but eventually it all sorts itself out. And these kids have to be highly competitive to be in the field that they're in. And so they have to have an ego to say, I'm going to be the guy. I can do it. I can trust my abilities to win a job in one of the 16 jobs in the country that means the most. And so I think that's how it boils down. But I mean, Zollers does have the opportunity, given the health, where if he can do what Bo's team wasn't able to do and win a top 10 game, Bo had 2 shots at it. Zollers is going to have about 2 shots at it. I'll count Oklahoma as top 10, top 12, since that's where they are. And if Zollers can win 1 or 2 of those, that'll go a long way toward the way they look at the future of the position. No question.
It's going to be tough for Oklahoma to still be there. They traveled to Tuscaloosa before they play Missouri.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, which is fine.
Okay.
I probably want Oklahoma to win that game, just because I think Mizzou needs to look as impressive as they can. But yeah, you know what? If OU drops it, then whatever.
Maybe
they've got to bye
up
this week too, so it's fine. They'll have that right before us, which is, I guess, a benefit as well.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back. We're going to talk more about Missouri at A&M, like I titled the show. And then we'll talk a little bit about the outside, how these playoff rankings maybe affect the SEC as a whole, and what teams we see keep on trending upwards. He's Brendan Schaefer. I'm Grant Salzman. We'll be back right after this.
What do you mean you've seen this? It's brand new. Are you online?
Oh, hey. Oh, so you're new here.
All right, let's get cracking.
Okay, then maybe you should check out our website.
You're insane.
Well, you download songs illegally from the internet.
LouInfo.com. LouInfo.com. The Lou Information Station. 590 AM KLIS, Wood River, St. Louis.
Our origin story begins.
When you're building something new, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Big Toe Media founder Dave Green, and with our company, we didn't want just another bank. We wanted people who understood what we were trying to create and who were there for us every step of the way. That's why we chose Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been much more than a bank. They're the kind of people who answer the phone, know your name, and believe in your vision. And the trust goes both ways. Home Bank doesn't just support our growth, they share in it. They take pride in helping local businesses succeed because they know when we win, the whole community wins. Business isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank. They're your business partner.
LouInfo.com news headlines. Brought to you by Brown and Crouppen, 222-2222.
With your LouInfo.com news, I'm Jared Cerullo. Boeing now facing pressure on both sides of the aisle to end the strike in St. Louis. A letter signed by 5 Democrat senators Tuesday accused the aerospace giant of unnecessarily endangering U.S. warfighters by insisting on proceeding with, quote, untrained and hastily recruited replacement workers, while more than 3,200 employees remain off the job in demand for a better contract. The St. Louis County Council will consider a vote of no confidence for its county health director. Council members are reportedly weighing the resolution against Dr. Kanika Cunningham after the release of an ethics report into her management of the county animal shelter during a parvo outbreak that led to 19 dogs being euthanized. And the Men's Rugby World Cup could be coming to the Gateway City. St. Louis has been announced as one of 27 potential host sites for the 2031 World Cup in the U.S. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cerullo.
Now, LouInfo.com weather. Presented by STL Sports Central. St. Louis sports. Anytime, anywhere.
Here's your LouInfo.com weather update. We're in pretty good shape for the next few days. High pressure is over our area. It will be a little windy today, though. Gusts around 25 miles an hour. Pretty nice daytime highs. We're in the low 70s, and it should be sunny. A little breezy overnight. A few clouds drifting through. We're in the mid-50s, and then not as windy on Wednesday, about 70, and lots of sun. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at LouInfo.com.
The Earl Austin Experience with Earl Austin Jr. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Brought to you by Fast Track Auto Transport, St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004.
You've been strong for everyone else, but let me ask you, who is strong for you? I am Jennifer Bardot, radio personality, author, and publisher, and the founder of Grit Association, which stands for Growth, Resilience, Intention, and Tenacity. What is Grit? Grit is a movement, a sisterhood, a space where ambitious women grow, lead, and thrive. This isn't just leadership. This is transformation. Grit is your circle of fire, where comfort zones get shattered, or stories become power, and the next level becomes your new normal. From our 7 international anthologies that elevate women's voices to my radio show, Elevate and Lead, on the Lou Information Station, everything we do is about your rising, your voice, your power, your people. Are you ready? Join Grit. For more information, visit mygritcommunity.com. That's mygritcommunity.com.
Lunchtime just got a whole lot better at Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. From mouthwatering wraps to loaded quesadillas to bold flavor-packed sandwiches, Hot Shots has something fresh every single day, along with your favorite wings, burgers, and pizza that you know and love. And don't sleep on those Hot Shots tacos. Plus, if you gotta be in and out quick for lunch, Hot Shots has you covered every day starting at 11 a.m. Find your nearest Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill now at hotshotsnet.com. That's hotshotsnet.com.
Tune in each week as STL Sports Central, the Lou Information Station, and the Too Many Men on the Mic podcast present the Mid-States Club Hockey Association Game of the Week. Brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stifel.
And welcome back to MIZZOU Central on KLIS 590. We're live and on demand at the Loot. Oh my goodness.
Let's try that again.
This is KLIS 590. We're live and on demand at luinfo.com.
That was pretty good.
Thanks, Brendan. Sorry about
Second
that.
one was the best. No, I liked it at the end. You brought
Thanks.
it back.
Thank you. Joining us on the Lou Information Station is Hannah Barton. Hannah, how are we this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing just wonderful. We've been talking about Texas A&M versus Missouri, and I'm curious to get your outlook on this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Texas A&M is without a doubt the hottest team and the best team in the SEC right now, one of the best teams in the country. I think for Mizzou, this is kind of that big upset win, you could say, that could probably propel them into being in, a better standing. And for Texas A&M, obviously a loss would definitely mix up things in the SEC. I know the game is at home, but I don't know, guys. I think Texas A&M just looks too good right now. And I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Mizzou is going to play well, but it just seems like right now no one can stop Texas A&M.
So you'd be predicting a Mizzou loss, it sounds like, Hannah?
I think I am. I would say more so a Texas A&M win.
Okay.
Than a Mizzou.
Oh,
but
see how she phrases that, Brendan, to spare our feelings. Something I wanted to talk about more was how the SEC is kind of framed in these rankings, and as always, it's very good. You have 3 teams in the top 10. What is that? 5 teams in the top 15.
4 in the top 10.
4 in the top 10. Sorry, 6 in the top 15. 6 in the top 12. Really.
Yep.
So as of now, if my calculations are correct, the SEC would have 4 teams in.
I think it's 5, but I don't know.
Bama would get in. Georgia would get in.
ACC team.
That's the issue.
That's the problem.
Ole Miss would get in. So right now it's only those 3 would get in, and then Virginia and Memphis would be your other.
So it's
conference.
Still 4. You keep saying 3. There would be 4 that are in for the SEC.
Gosh,
6 is all SEC teams.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah, and then one would get bumped out.
Texas and Oklahoma would be bumped out right now.
Right,
as things stand.
Oklahoma bumped out by a group of 5 champion. And Texas bumped out by the ACC champion because there's not an ACC in the top 12.
Yeah. The ACC stinks.
It does stink. It really stinks.
Miami will find a way to sneak in, I feel like.
I like Georgia Tech.
I like Georgia Tech too.
I disagree. I think you're going to see it's so hard because, you're thinking, all right, Georgia Tech, it looks like they're going to be the clear front runner. And then you take that loss this past weekend. And I don't see Miami sneaking in there, though.
Who do you think it will be? Who wins the ACC?
There's got to be someone that's in the title game, too. That's the other part of it. Miami's got 2 losses right now in conference.
I think it could be Louisville.
So, I mean, I'm still thinking Georgia Tech has a really solid shot.
Ooh, let me take a look at this one team's schedule before I say this.
Ooh.
I think I like Pitt.
Yeah.
Pitt can lose to Notre Dame, and it's not a conference game. They'll go to Georgia Tech, and they'll host Miami. And I think I could end up on Pitt in both of those games with their freshman quarterback that's come on strong. They have been rolling teams. They haven't played any great ones recently necessarily, but they have been dominant. And like I think if they win those 2 games, that gets them to a 7-1 conference record. And so they'd have the game over Georgia Tech to jump them. And they would have obviously win over Miami, which would not matter for tiebreaker purposes. Their one loss right now is to Louisville, so they would need Louisville to take another loss if Virginia doesn't.
Yeah.
And Louisville at SMU could lose. They play Clemson, but it's at home. So like I guess that would be Pitt needing a little bit of help, but I like Pitt. I think they're probably one of the better teams in the conference. So if they can sneak in, I could see it.
It's funny how there's a lot of ACC teams on here. What? Virginia, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Miami, Pitt, but none of them are like, we kind of know it's a 1-bid league. Like,
feels that way.
There's not
like Mizzou, like the committee's going to have to give credit to other teams that win.
Yeah.
If that's going to be the case. Like, I don't know how many games that are meaningful USC, Iowa, or Michigan has left, but like if those teams are beating a big time opponent, like Mizzou beating A&M, which we don't expect, but if it happens, like that has to immediately result in a jolt for Mizzou's ranking. If it doesn't, if the committee's going to lean more on, how many losses you don't have, like these ACC teams that only have 1 loss, then it's going to be difficult to not see those ACC teams just creep up week by week if they don't take losses. And I shouldn't be that way, but like Virginia, Louisville, they are positioned to theoretically go 11-1 and kind of be in the mix at the end because these SEC teams above them will take losses.
Yeah, Virginia's schedule very easy. Wake Forest, Duke, Virginia Tech, Louisville's schedule, Clemson, SMU, and then Kentucky. So, yeah,
what could be a problem is a Louisville and a Virginia meeting in the ACC title game, ranked around 10 and 11 when it happens. And then the team that loses, do they drop any by virtue of losing a game that they qualified for? Like, that's going to be a real kind of rub for ACC teams. But I do think the next best SEC team will be more deserving than the loser of the ACC title game. So we'll just have to see the way it shakes out.
Right now, Virginia's 1 and Georgia Tech is 2. Obviously, they play Pitt, and Pitt is 3rd, so there will be some tiebreakers. But yeah, I think
Virginia 1, Georgia Tech is 2 in the conference standings.
In the conference standings, yes.
But Louisville is higher in the CFP.
Yes.
And so it's going to matter who qualifies for that ACC title game. But again, like I could see a realm in which it's like Louisville if they don't lose. Because of Georgia Tech having to play Pitt. That's kind of one where I'm circling.
Okay, yeah. And then the SEC got some major respect, I thought. Texas being 11, Oklahoma being 12. Like
to a point. It stopped at a certain point.
It stopped at Missouri, but that always happens.
It stopped directly at Missouri, and here's why. Looking at these rankings, there are 7 SEC teams above Mizzou. Mizzou would be the 8th SEC team. We know that the SEC is not getting 8. A lot of people nationally don't think the Big Ten is all that much worse than the SEC. Like they're the 2 power leagues, right? I don't agree with that, but
so much
these rankings would have been way out of balance if you don't put those 3 Big Ten teams right above Mizzou. Michigan, Iowa, Southern Cal. That's 6, if my math is correct. Big Ten teams above Mizzou. There's no way that Iowa should be above Mizzou, but the other 2 are like whatever. Like I'm not surprised that without a signature win for Mizzou, that Southern Cal and Michigan are where they are, right? Like, are we crediting Iowa for losing by only 5 to Indiana? Okay, Mizzou lost by only 3 to Alabama. They lost by 1 score to Vanderbilt. Like, Mizzou's losses are even. So the Iowa thing is just a complete joke, but I think they had to kind of slide it in there to make it still seem like they're giving fair credence to both the Big Ten and the SEC rather than just giving it all to the SEC. Unfortunately for Mizzou, the buck stopped with them, and they're like, well, they haven't beaten anybody, so we're going to drop them down pretty low to kind of add the balance to this. I think it's completely fake, but I also think it doesn't matter at all as long as Mizzou is able to win against Texas A&M. Then we need to see what that jump is. If they beat A&M and they jump 2 spots, like it's over. Like Mizzou can't make the playoff. But if they jump up to 17, like they probably should, then that's where we're like, okay, they're going to be reasonable and adjust as they go.
I agree with you. Completely agree with you on that. Because that's what we were talking about beforehand is like, while these first rankings kind of set the order, the standard, it also, if you keep winning, it doesn't matter. Like if Missouri goes 10-2, if Vandy goes 10-2, they're going to get in.
Absolutely. And I actually, a couple of years ago, had the chance to attend this college football playoff mock exercise, which is basically where they bring in members of the media and you are assigned as if you are a sitting member of the committee, and you go through what it's like to sit there and get your top 12, get your top 25, get everything set. And I got to sit through that process. And what I realized is in the same day, you could go through that process 3 or 4 times, and each time you could get a couple different results. So what it looks like now could even be different if they did voting. I know they don't, but even if they did voting in 3 days, it could look different. You know, so from now to what it's going to look like at the end of the season, I mean, you can't really, yes, it gives you like a little bit of an idea as to maybe like, okay, what are they thinking? What's maybe their thought process? But it is no indication of what teams are going to be playing for the playoffs in the postseason.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. That's good knowledge to have about the committee, because it is flawed. But I do think at the end of the day, come December, the 12 best teams normally end up getting in. I want to look ahead to it's kind of a softer SEC weekend, some teams on buys, but an interesting one that I'm looking at, Georgia at Mississippi State. Mississippi State only an 8-point underdog against the Bulldogs. Well, they're both Bulldogs against Georgia on Saturday. Does that surprise you, Brendan?
What's the spread?
It's 8. Mississippi State is +8.
I don't think anything is surprising about that in either direction.
Okay.
No, what side did you think was getting undervalued?
I don't know if they're undervalued. It just feels like Georgia would be like a 10-point favorite to open up, and people would really be on Miss State.
Well, I mean, if that's the way you think, you're projecting it, you wanted it to be that way, then maybe that's why it's not, right?
Yeah,
because
I
then
agree.
it would maybe move back to 8.
Yeah.
Georgia beat Auburn by 10 on the road, and that was a little bit of a dogfight, though. Yeah, I mean, that's maybe the most comparable. But they beat Florida by 4 at a neutral. I think Florida and Mississippi State are pretty similar.
Mhm.
Not the same rivalry implication to this one. Mississippi State's been tough on teams recently. Like, they haven't been able to get over the hump against anybody good. But they beat Arkansas, and they lose by 7 in overtime to Texas. They should have beaten Florida, lose by 2 at Florida. They had an overtime loss to Tennessee by a possession. So other than the A&M loss, Mississippi State has been in or won every game they've played this year. So I think that's just, and like Georgia's not, like your comment about earlier where you said, I think Georgia and Alabama are both better than A&M, probably colors this. I do not. I don't think Georgia is better than either of those teams at this point, and they've got flaws for sure. So I could see Georgia winning by a touchdown and that being right around the spread that it ends up happening.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hannah, South Carolina on a bye this week. I'm just curious, we have the Elijah Drinkowitz buzz here about him possibly leaving. What is it down there? Because I think Brendan can attest, during the bye week, I feel like it really picked up the drink leaving comments. Has that happened with Beamer down there?
Honestly, not really, because the biggest coaching conversation that was happening in Columbia was around offensive coordinator Mike Shula. And that was kind of one that was like stirring, and people have been wanting to see a change there for the past few weeks. The fan base, I mean, I don't know if you saw clips. We had students that literally organized a protest on campus. Picture like 12 to 15 frat brothers walking down the main street in campus chanting "Fire Shula." So that was kind of the main concern in Columbia. And watching that game on Saturday, I don't know if anyone watched that South Carolina Ole Miss game, but the final 2 minutes of the first half was probably some of the worst clock management and coaching that you could ever see. And Beamer was very angry, yelling into that headset. And I turned to my dad, who I was watching the game with, and I said, Shula is not going to have a job tomorrow. I guarantee it. Sure enough, wake up on Sunday, he's gone. And so honestly, I think for Shane Beamer, that decision really kind of calmed any sort of tension that was around. Is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here? You know, I think some people on the outside think that the buzz is he going to leave to go to Virginia Tech. I don't see Shane Beamer leaving South Carolina on his own terms.
Okay.
I think it would be, I think if Beamer's going to leave, it's going to be, let's say this season obviously has not been good. If you come around next season with the recruiting class that he's been able to put together and it's another, barely bowl eligible, if bowl eligible at all season, I think then you're going to see him be ushered out the door and he may go somewhere else. But I think on his own terms, you're not going to see him leave this season.
Got it. Brendan, I know we're all locked in on football, but this week, college basketball season started. The Missouri Tigers opened on the road at Howard with an 88-67 victory over the Howard Bison. Good teams win, great teams cover, and that's what Missouri did to the 28.5 point spread. What'd you see from Missouri in game one? Because what I saw was Sean Phillips Jr. I'm very excited about watching him play ball this year.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have a post presence. I don't think that's really been something Mizzou has been able to call on in recent years, even as they've had successful seasons. We'll see what he looks like against more capable opposition, though. It was certainly impressive what we saw against Howard, but most of the games that Mizzou plays will be against teams that are better than Howard.
Yeah.
You mentioned covering the spread. That's good. You were without a couple of guys. Boateng and Trent Pierce were unavailable for the game. We'll see how soon either of those guys are able to get back into the rotation. They only played 9 guys, which is unusual for an opener when Dennis Gates is trying to get pretty deep into the rotation. You just had 3 guys that were not available when you count Trent Burns as well. Sloppy. There were some turnover issues. There were some free throw misses, but largely I feel like you kind of got out of a weird situation relatively unscathed, like playing on the road in Washington, D.C. at a team that's like outside the top 300 in KenPom is weird. But they did it and they won the game, and I don't think anybody got hurt. So I'm not going to have too many overreactions to the first one. I like Jaden Stone too. He looked good out there.
I do too. On top of that, more SEC teams in action. We've had a top 5 tumble already. Florida, the defending national champions, obviously lost some guys like Walter Clayton Jr. They fell to Arizona 93-87. Koa Pete had 30 points for Arizona. Hannah, I still think, though, the SEC is going to be pretty dominant this year as a conference. Maybe not quite what we saw last year, but this Florida loss doesn't make me think they'll be anything less than what they were last year. Nope.
No, I don't. Okay. I don't think so at all. I think you saw kind of this resurgence of SEC men's basketball last year, and I think that's going to continue. And again, it's basketball; it's not football. You see these losses early on in the season. At the end of the day, it's not going to have that big of an effect down the road because it's such a long season. You're playing so many games, and it's the rule of sport. Sometimes it's good to get a loss under your belt that shakes things up a little bit, and you know what you need to work on moving forward.
Brennan, who scares you the most in the SEC for basketball this year?
I think it's maybe a little bit still too early to say what that looks like, because I think some of the teams that would have been easy answers last year are no longer the answer.
Yeah.
Like Auburn went to overtime with Bethune-Cookman. I think they're going to take a meaningful step backward.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to mean, that they are out of the NCAA tournament mix. I still think they can have a chance to get there. And that's how I'm viewing Mizzou as well. Is like, I think they're going to be in the mix to maybe make the tournament, but Texas lost to Duke and it wasn't particularly close. So like, you're kind of just getting an idea for what some of these teams are. Kentucky has a win, but I don't think are necessarily in fully operational just yet. So the usual suspects will be there, like in Alabama. I still think will be pretty much near the top, but
Arkansas.
I do think the league, Arkansas under Calipari will want to be there, but I think the league will slightly step back compared to last year in terms of how potent the teams at the very tippy top are. You may not have 2 number 1 seeds or whatever like you did last year.
Was it 12 teams that got in or 14?
It was a lot, whatever it was. I think it won't be quite. I mean, you still probably get like 10. I think it'll be a little bit of a step back, but still an argument for the best conference in the sport this year.
Which helps a team like Missouri and even Hannah's South Carolina is that you don't got to be perfect. We used to see even 5 years ago in the SEC, 6 years ago, you probably need to win a lot more than you lost to have a legit chance in that large bid. Now it's a 500 record in the SEC is a pretty good record, and you'll probably make the NCAA tournament with that, which helps teams like Mizzou, who were unsure of, South Carolina, who were definitely unsure of, to get into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you can't take bad losses in the non-con, though.
Yes.
That's like the one thing that I think, because once the conference schedule happens, if you want credit for being a good 500 SEC team, don't let them be able to poke holes in your non-conference slate.
Don't lose the Bethune-Cookman, which Auburn didn't. They didn't lose. They won. Missouri back in action on Friday against SEMO. That will be their first home game of the season. So if you want, get down a little early to Columbia, go welcome the basketball team into Mizzou Arena, and then the next day at 2:30, Mizzou kicks off against Texas A&M. Brendan and I will be back Friday with more Mizzou talk, giving you our picks for the weekend as well. As always, thanks to Hannah Barton for joining us. Up next, it's Charlie Tuna in the Posse on the Loot Information Station. We'll see you on Friday.
This is Mizzou wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr.
And I'm Mizzou linebacker Josiah Trotter.
When we hit the field, we have each other's back.
And off the field, we got James